In this video, I will show two exercises, the cartoon character jumping over a gap and my character's unique walk cycle, for the purpose of demonstrating 12 fundamental principles of animation. The first is staging, which refers to the presentation of what is happening on the screen so it can be clear and concise to the viewer. This is done by controlling aspects such as camera angle, timing, and position. Here we can clearly view the character jumping across the screen, which is what I needed to present for the assignment. Next is anticipation. This is when an object or character has a movement that indicates the following one, boosting the realism and opening the door for other principles that I will explain later on, such as squash and stretch or exaggeration. Before my character jumps, they crouch down very far to show the viewer the energy it's building up in the form of a large jump. When it begins its jump, my character ascends upwards slower at the beginning compared to the highest point. This was my attempt at the next principle, ease in and ease out. These motions are at the beginning and end of animated movements, so they appear smooth to the eye and reflect lifelike motions where an object will gradually accelerate and slowly decelerate when coming to a stop. Once my character lands, he slows down before standing back up. After that is moving holds. These are subtle movements in your character's key pose to give it a more lifelike performance. These can be done before and after the motion. In the jump, it slightly leans forward before launching back to gain momentum, as well as at the end when it swings its arms. Next is squash and stretch, where objects and characters' appearance will look more flat or long to exaggerate either speed, weight, mass, or momentum. My character clearly stretches and squashes abnormally throughout its jump to appear like a cartoon would, as well as the height and length of its flight. The speed of a character's actions can also be altered for an effect on the viewer, a principle known as timing. This can be done by removing and adding frames, such as during the overall arc of the jump. This demonstrates that the movement purposely bends the laws of physics to appear either funny or visually interesting. Now moving on to the unique walk style. One principle is appeal, which is simply how aesthetically pleasing the animation is to the eye. It is crucial for attention-grabbing character movements and performances. My character's low stance and protruding knees are strange enough to be eye-catching, however I don't enjoy looking at it as it is rather robotic and stiff. Another principle is exaggeration. This is when poses, movements, or facial expressions are overly emphasized to achieve a desired effect on the viewer. An example from the walk are the contact poses, breakdown poses, and the character's overall stance and proportion. A character walking towards you with bent knees could be creepy, but an old man walking quickly towards you with extremely bent knees becomes very creepy. The next principle is arcs. All natural movements are circular, so it's important to animate motions that smoothly follow a realistic looking arc. My character's feet and knees, for instance, move in somewhat smooth flowing arc to sell the fact that it's walking forward. Then there's follow through and drag, which refers to how limbs or other external parts of the body interact if the body either slows down or stops. A good example of this is how I should have animated the character's beard moving in reaction to the walk. After every step, the beard should have dipped down and back up. Hair closer to the end would have been delayed or dragged behind during its arc to replicate the physics of hair. Closely related to this principle is overlapping action, which describes the timing between these external objects and the character itself. A good example are the arms during the walk cycle, which can be viewed as a natural pendulum that swings its individual segments at various speeds compared to one another. The last principle is called secondary action. These are small motions within a character's action that assist with adding realism or other dimension to the viewer. For instance, with each step and arm swing, my character will rotate its hips and shoulders the opposite direction. This is to replicate the natural function of hip swaying to distribute weight or center of mass between each stride.